PIMCO Columbia REIT defaults on $1.7 billion of their loans. Brookfield defaults on $784 million. And just as we reach the 21st consecutive increase in foreclosure starts, the government rolls out the 40-year mortgage. In an anxiety-ridden year of 2020, approximately 7.5 million borrowers sought COVID-19 payment relief or forbearance, as some of you know it. While some recovered, others now face looming risk of foreclosure. And now there's been 21 consecutive months of foreclosures being on a rise month over month. This is where the government has stepped in again and decided, hey, let's introduce a 40-year mortgage. Before we get into that, I just want to thank a subscriber who came on a live stream last night and brought up the 40-year mortgage for FHA, VA, USDA loans.
Love your opinion on going FHA versus USDA home loans. Also, I spoke with a housing advisor with Idaho Housing and Finance, and she said FHA now allows 40-year loan modifications. Thoughts?
Yes. Discovered that this mortgage is not for purchasing homes, but for restructuring existing loans for borrowers facing financial hardship and struggling to make their mortgage payments. Some of you guys are late on subscribing to this video. Take a second, subscribe, and let's get back into it. These high-stakes 40-year mortgage options designed for those teetering on the edge of default or foreclosure allows homeowners to recast or refinance their loans. It has a widespread misconception that this mortgage can be used to purchase a home. As evidence of this article, I found where an agent mistakenly believed it will attract more buyers into the real estate market. She states that this will allow more buyers to be able to afford homes, stretching out their payments over 40 years instead of just 30 years. But we'll get in a little bit more of that later. I want to always encourage you guys to do your research, whatever you hear, even from our channel. And we're going to provide that article that we're referencing in the description below. This 40-year mortgage applies exclusively to pre-existing FHA, VA, or USDA loans, not new loans, not for purchasing. Now we have been following and sharing about the foreclosure wave that could be hitting the Treasure Valley, Idaho market. This raises the pressing question on whether this will postpone, delay, or even stop the anticipated wave of foreclosures. Amidst this tense situation, what kind of effects do you think the mortgage option will have on the real estate market? Leave it in the comments below. Keep in mind, foreclosures hitting the market didn't peak until 2010 to 2012, following the tense 2007 to 2010 home price decline. Homeowners couldn't sell their properties due to loss of equity, leading to the domino effect of foreclosures. As neighbors defaulted on their loans, it then gave others permission to default on theirs, creating this kind of herd mentality. However, the 40-year mortgage option could dramatically change the landscape by allowing borrowers to restructure their loans, extending their payment terms, potentially avoiding the nerve-wracking experience of foreclosure. But now this is what I think the problem of the 40-year mortgage is. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see massive people losing their homes, getting put on the streets, or having to rent when they currently own a house. But the problem here is if we extend that 40-year mortgage, how long is 40 years? Think about it. If you buy a house in your late 20s, early 30s, and you get a 40-year mortgage and you never leave that house, it's going to take you until you're 70. So you're going to retire before that house is even paid off. And that doesn't even add on all the interest that is being tacked on because you're extending it another 10 years. Currently, with a 30-year mortgage, people anticipate, okay, a majority of my payment's going to go towards interest first 10 years. But now with a 40-year mortgage, now you're looking at 15, 20 years of your mortgage payments. A majority of that's going to interest rather than your principal. So it's going to make homeownership and equity building a lot harder unless we see appreciation in home values. So let me give you a visual representation of what we're talking about here. So if I plug in a $480,000 mortgage at 6% interest rate, and that's lower than today's interest rate, right? But let's just say 6% interest rate. At a 30-year mortgage, your total interest is going to be $556,000. If I change that to a 40-year mortgage, that now jumps to $787,000. What is the monthly difference in that? We're talking about $220,000 more in interest by extending your loan 10 years.